Then I can put that up. All right, there we go. Okay, so so far so good. Or if you have any questions, please let me know. One thing is make sure you just interrupt me if something comes up as we walk through, as we go through the week. Okay? So this is week 2 here, right? All right, so there we go. So first week we did introduce the anatomy and we built some community. I'm grading the stuff as it comes in, although right now is a lot there. So give me a couple days. Hopefully by tonight or tomorrow I have everything fixed and it's graded. And then we're moving this week into cytology and the tissues. And we have some lectures to that. We're also going to have the weekly preview that comes up here, right, when we finish, when I publish it later this afternoon. And cytology is number one, and that's the cells. So we're going to have us lectures here on the cells. And then this week, you're also going to, this is the lecture part, and then in the lab, you're also going to go through those with Mr. Estrella. These are a little bit slow to load, but I have all the material that I present is either in a voice or in a voiceover where I do the video and talk into the computer, as you can see here, or I do it in the classroom. So you can sort of watch either or. And then I have sort of the bullet point text highlights down below, which is kind of the important part for you guys to pick up from the video material. So this is a great place to sort of make flashcards if you're a flashcard person, which I do suggest, as you've noticed so far. Also, though, when I talk about those bullet points, very importantly is this test review, because even the lecture tests this semester, they are in person and we're finalizing the dates. I got to make sure I actually have a meeting with that. And these bullet points here that you can see, we have an introduction tab. You also have a PDF version here that you can download. These bullet points are really all the things that are on the test. I make the test questions out of these points for the lecture tests. And so if you know these points, if you know all these bullets as you go through the videos, as you process the material, and you understand all of those, then you're good and well versed or well prepared for the lecture exam. And so that hopefully makes it so it's finite of what I'm expecting from you during the exam. And all the exams are like that on the lecture side. And that way you're going to be doing just fine with it. Because once you know those, once you understand those, then you'll be okay, or you'll be good. So make sure you check out that review early. Do not wait for last minute. Check out that review as you go through the material and sort of backwards engineer it a little bit. Make sure you understand what I want from you on the review, because not every detail is on the review. And then the second lecture this week is on tissues. That's like your muscle tissue or your connective and epithelial tissue. Some of those terms are a little fresh, but tissues are cells that work together and form fabrics that then make up organs and then the body. And so that's where we get into now. And then that helps us then get into the bigger parts where we start soon with then the bones and the muscles and so forth. Then each lecture has these questions associated with it. These questions you can take as many times as you want. The highest score will count. So it's really here to massage the material and process the material, massage the brain. I kind of call that. I'm a massage therapist, so that's why I use that term. I also have videos that go through those questions in the classroom with people in it. So you're very welcome to look at that if it's hard, or some people like to just process it that way. That's okay too. It's really for you to utilize. There's not just one way, but it's about processing the material at the end of the day. Then we got a couple of concept understandings in this chapter as well. There's a few things I want you to know and understand a little bit better as a process, and one of them is how does the body make proteins, and then the second one is how does the cell divide mitosis. And so I want you to explain that a little bit in your own terminology or your own words, and also then work with other students and you know to in a discussion forum to help each other to really make sure you understand those concepts. And then we have a couple more things here that are sort of not quite, well, they are somewhat material related. One is my spotlight scientists. I have included that and I keep that up. It's kind of a little fun thing where you go and you look for look at that, somebody put it already, somebody else in. You look for a person, a minority ideally, that had some scientific breakthrough. For example, Madame Curie in 1900-ish, early or late 1800s, developed the radiographs, the X-rays. And so that's an interesting person who is a woman who was making such a scientific breakthrough. That is often the white male that does that, or is driven more to do that because they are, you know, nurtured to do that thing. And so I want us to go through somebody that we might know that is in our heritage, that is from our part of the universe. We're people from all over the world, and then talk to us briefly about that person. I want you to go to this Google map and make a pin, and then in the pin describe, get a picture into the pin so we see how the person looks, and then describe that person briefly. And I don't need you to write anything. I want you to go to Wikipedia and look up the person and copy paste the first paragraph into it. But that way, you know, you don't have to worry about writing English. But that way we can it's kind of a fun activity to learn from each other a little bit about different people, and it's been, you know, it's helpful to understand that people not necessarily from the mainstream, many of us don't seem to be coming from the mainstream. You know, they're discovering and they're in moving science forward as well. And it's not always the one that we see most of the time in pictures, maybe, or it used to be that way. Maybe it's changing. I don't know. But anyway, that way we share with each other and we have a little back and forth on that front. So we'll do that this week. And then lastly this week, well, second lastly, is explained through images. One thing that I have found when I made these classes is, you know, Google has a lot of cool images, and I can really learn from pictures way better than from words very often. And so what I want in this activity is I want you to go through that process one time yourself, and I explain you how to do the Google images and then download it. And most of you guys probably are, it's an old hat to do that, and you already know how to do all of that. But I want to make sure I catch the few that don't. And so we have an activity around that, because I personally, when I study something these days, I make my own little notebook and, you know, copy paste, or you know, in a Word, and have pictures, or in a tablet, and then I can annotate the pictures. And so it's a very versatile these days. And so I want us to play with that a little bit and help each other to be versatile. So that's the explained through images on my end here. And then the lab stuff, of course, is by Mr. Estrella. He goes through that doing the in-person sessions. And then the week, we finish the week out with a Padlet, which, yep, I'm not signed in as a student, so I got to get out of here for that. And the Padlet looks like that. This week, we're going to click the plus, type something that was a moment of understanding that we were like, wow, that makes sense. A light bulb went off. Share that with the group. Or you have a question, is like, this doesn't make sense to me, and then share that with the group. One thing is, I go through those Padlets and read them, and it's a great place to, another great place to ask questions. And it's also a good place for me to get a pulse on the class, sort of how things are going. And so then, and it's an extra credit. Let me make sure it's extra credit. It should be an extra credit assignment. So it's also not, if you miss a week, you're fine. Yeah, it's the extra credit. And so but do it because it gives you some pointies and that helps you out in terms of the grade. So um, I'm I'm um, I value these a lot. So they give me a lot of feedback, and so I'm grateful when you utilize them to help me out, make the class better, or help us out, make the class better. Since it's both of us doing this here, it's just I have the online part of it. Okay, and then that cleans out the week. We finish up. Oh, now of course we have a few more tabs. Sorry, dismissed that. But we finish up what we did, and then so further learning resources. In the learning resource, I do have um, the textbook, but also this is a great lady. She passed away. She was um, old school. She draws everything on the board and draws anatomy like that. And she used to have Einstein's brain. I mean, she's on that level. She's one of the best. And if you're interested in this stuff or that sort of technique, or want to see how she's doing it, that's a great link to get some somebody who's just old school and really does it all on the blackboard. That's really cool. Anyway, that's basically then on my end what we have this week. But if you have any questions, just reach out. I'm just a text away, or I do have my own places. So if you can't pronto, just shoot me a text if anything comes up. I don't want to have you guys feel, not knowing what we're doing or so and get anxiety around it. Wonderful day, and I'm here. I'm going back to grading. Take care.